What's up guys, Rhino here and welcome back to another one of my FIFA 20 Ultimate Team videos. This one today guys, it's going to be basically focusing on the new edition of Icon Swaps. We're into the new season, Season 5, and you know, I just wanted to dedicate a video really just kind of like talking through the various rewards and options that you get for the Icon Swaps, and just kind of my thoughts and opinions on which ones I'm thinking I'm going to go for, but also which ones are kind of possibilities, and the ones which I think are probably ones that you should definitely try and avoid, just as little recommendations for you guys. But of course, you'll have your own views and opinions. Particular players will fit for your squads, so let me know in the comments below who you think you're going to take. Obviously, you know, these opinions can all change because I think we've still got like 82 days left for this Icon Swaps, so it's gonna run over at least 2 seasons, because this season's got, I think, 41 days left. It should say, yeah, 40 days and 19 hours. So still a lot of time. I don't know if it's gonna work the same as the previous Icon Swaps, where of course we actually did it over 3 seasons because there were 2 mini seasons over like the festive period. So I'd imagine it probably won't happen again. I don't think there'll really be any reason to kind of split it into 2 mini seasons. I think it will just be 2 big ones really, for this particular Icon Swaps edition. Just before we jump in and have a look at the players that you have available, we'll just quickly have a look at what you need to do to get them done. So there's currently 12 Icon Swap cards that are available for you guys to go and earn. So obviously there'll be another 12 in Season 6 presumably. A lot of these are online, to be honest. 8 of them are online, so mainly an online sort of base one. It's pretty much the same kind of layout, and you know what you've got to do is pretty similar. It's obviously just like little things vary in terms of which leagues you've got to use players from and stuff like that, but the general concept of what you've got to do to earn these players is almost identical, I would say. So the first lot is literally just winning 4 rivals matches with 9 first owner players from each of the 5 major leagues. So obviously, you know, got them all here. We've always had that really, to be honest. It's a pretty easy one to do. 4 rivals wins is not too difficult. You can obviously drop yourself down a division if you want to make it a little bit easier. I'll probably end up doing that at some point. I normally do, just because you know what, like everyone does it, so I don't really feel much shame in doing it. There's a few other ones here for online which are maybe a little bit different, but I think pretty similar again. Again, there's a thing here for winning FUT Champs matches. As you can see, I've done 5 out of 12 so far, so I've nearly got that all done, to be honest. Like, I mean, I say I've nearly got it done. I mean, this weekend league has been pretty horrific, I've got to say, so I don't know if I will actually even play 12 games, but fingers crossed I can go the whole way and get that one done this weekend. And then with 5 rivals matches using 11 first own players, well, you'll do that anyway, ideally, when you do one of the other objectives, so that should be one that you just kind of chalk off 2 and 1. And then there's 5 rivals matches using 11 UCL themed players, which could be potentially difficult. So that could be any like team of the group stage cards, or like road to the final cards, or just normal like rare, non-rare Champions League cards. So there's a few possibilities there. So hopefully you guys have got a few of them in your club already. Maybe not 11 that are going to like link together for chemistry, which could make it a little bit more difficult. But you know, a lot of just like the normal Champions League cards are pretty much the same price as their standard rare cards anyway. Maybe they might go up in value a bit because of this objective, but I'd like to think it won't be too much. So maybe that'll be like the hardest one to do probably out of the lot. And then of course offline, there's one for legendary difficulty, and then the rest of these are on world class. A few matches, a little bit more, to be honest. Like one of them, you got to win 6 games. 6 games on legendary. It's a bit of a ball ache, to be honest, but it's just, you know, offline is of course easier, so they're going to make it a few more games. It's just boring, but you know, you got to do what you got to do if you want to get the big boys in the Icon Swaps this time round. So in total, what are we looking at? So we got 21 players, 21 wins there, and then there's another. So that's 31, 43, and then we've got 20 there, so 63 wins in total to get all of these Icon Swap cards. So that's a lot of games, because obviously you're not going to win every game that you play, or most people won't anyway. So yeah, a lot of games to chalk off there, but these are the rewards that you will be playing for. So if we can get to the correct tab here. So starting off, we've got Litmanen. Now, initially there was a Peter Schmeichel card. So if anybody, if you hear anything about Peter Schmeichel, people aren't lying. There was a Prime Icon Moments Peter Schmeichel. EA then realised that his baby card was in the first edition of Icon Swaps, which I actually have myself. So I literally have proof of it in my club. But fair play to EA, they realised pretty quickly that they made the mistake. They removed him from the Icon Swaps. They didn't actually replace him with anyone, which I thought was a little bit interesting because there now isn't actually a single goalkeeper available in this edition of Icon Swaps, which I thought was a bit unusual. Maybe putting like Yashin in there, seeing as he's like the best Icon goalkeeper in, this is supposed to be the final Icon Swaps of the year. This is supposed to be the big one where like all the big cards are available. I don't see why they couldn't just put Yashin in there, to be honest, but it is what it is. They've just gone and just removed him, and that's it. So he would have been 6 tokens. I guess maybe the reason is they didn't put Yashin is because he would have cost more than 6. I don't know if it's difficult for them to kind of code that into the game. I guess not, but maybe it's difficult for them to get it in there to be available at a different amount of tokens. I'm not sure. I would like to kind of speculate about that, but I would have thought it's quite easy, really, to be honest. I think they've probably just been a bit lazy on that front, but anyway. So Litmanen's there at 6. He looks alright. It's a Prime Icon Moments, and there's quite a few Prime Icon Moment cards in this Icon Swaps, but a lot of them are ones that like aren't really that usable, to be honest. It's a lot of the cards that, like, if you got their baby card, you'd be like, never ever going to use that in a million years. Like, just such a poor player to get. So there's probably a lot of like mid icons, maybe even some baby icons that are better than some of these moment cards that are in this Icon Swaps. But I like that they've got them involved. It's some of these icon players, people have a lot of like sort of like sentimental and emotional attachment to them. So it's good that some of these cards are available. So credit to EA for that. We've got Trezeguet here, who is going to be 7 tokens. Again, pretty similar kind of situation to Litmanen, really. I don't really think I'd want this card in particular. Doesn't really look that great. He's a big clunky player. He's not going to fit this particular game. Maybe on FIFA 19 he might have been quite good. With like the heading and stuff, but not really for me on this particular one, guys, if I'm honest. Also at 7 is Gattuso. Again, another one. For me, like, these 3 cards, they mean nothing to me because I would never use them. And I'd even include this Laudrup in there. I would not put any of these 4 cards in my starting 11. In any circumstances, really. Like, in terms of FUT Champs, they just wouldn't get in there. There'd be so many better cards that I could put in there who would just play so much better in game. These are just complete no-goes for me. So I'm not... You can kind of tell this is obviously going to rule out some of like the bigger ones, because sometimes you can go for like a bigger icon swap and then take a smaller one to like merge them together to get the best kind of use of all the tokens. I'm not going to be doing that with any of these ones. I did it previously in Icon Swaps 1, obviously I took Schmeichel along with Zanetti, but that's not going to be happening this time around because these cards are just genuinely really poor and they don't kind of balance out. Like the real high-end ones are not good enough for me to justify going for some of these, but there's still some good cards out there, and we'll see this in a second. So yeah, Gattuso, too slow really, not great at dribbling or passing, obviously not shooting either. There's going to be many cards out there that are going to be a lot better than him, especially considering that Team of the Season is going to be out by the time this Icon Swaps is over. So that is definitely something to consider, guys. We've kind of looked at Laudrup there. He's at 9, which is quite a lot, to be honest. I've seen some people that think that that's good value. I can't really agree with that, to be honest. I can't really see that's going to be great value. I don't think that card is necessarily worth that much on the market, considering it's a moments card. So yeah, not going to go for him. This next one though at 9 is an interesting one. You got Carlos Puyol. I could see a few people going for him because he's just an absolute rock at the back. Kind of a little bit slow for my liking, especially at this stage of the game. Like, if this was an Icon Swaps 1, I think he'd be like a no-brainer. Or maybe even like Icon Swaps 2, I think at like 9, that wouldn't be a bad shout. But for Icon Swaps 3, at the back end of the game, I don't think really worth it. Can't, he's not a ball playing centre back either. Like, can't pass, can't dribble. So he's literally one of those players who'll just kind of make interceptions, make tackles. He'll just get in the way of the shots, and he'll be an absolute warrior at the back. But as soon as he has the ball at his feet, you just need to get rid and just give it to someone else. So maybe wouldn't necessarily suit some people's style of play. You can also get a Prime Icon pack for 9, which I think is actually quite good value. I would say it's quite good value. I'm personally not going to be doing this just purely because you guys would have seen in Icon Swaps 2, I got stung big time with the mid icon pack, and you know, I can't do it again. I can't gamble this again. Obviously I've got Pep Guardiola before. I am currently using Pep Guardiola, but I don't really like him. Like I've got to say, he's not that great. He's only really there just because he gets links to the rest of he like allows me to play other players in the team. And as soon as I can get a better icon central midfielder, he's just going to be straight out the door. So, and then this will probably explain a little bit more as to one of my particular picks. And I can justify my decision not to take the Prime Icon pack even more. And we'll just jump straight into it now. I'll kind of skip one out, but as you can see here, we've got a Ruud Gullit. It is only the baby Ruud Gullit card, but it's available for 10 tokens. So only one more token than the Prime Icon pack. For me, I think it's a much better choice to get a player who is, you know, he's used on the competitive scene. Maybe not necessarily his base card, but I've seen people use his base one before. It's a phenomenal card in game. An absolute beast, like 5-star week. For everybody knows how good Ruud Gullit is. I don't need to sit here and kind of explain. Like it's just obvious. He is incredible. And for me, if I can go out there and get a guaranteed like amazing player for my team, or I can gamble and go for this, like, you know, don't get me wrong, you could get Gullit, you could get a much better version of Ruud Gullit, but at the same time, imagine I got Pep Guardiola. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine I got another Pep Guardiola, or imagine I got like Zanetti, who I already have, or imagine I got Van der Sar, who I have his mid card. Yeah, obviously it's an improvement, but then it then makes my mid card just worthless. So I think you got to be careful when you go with this one, because especially at this point, there's a lot of people that have a lot of icons, and it's a bit of a dangerous game if you have a few untradeable icons to then kind of make them worthless, especially with no icon SBCs this year. You know, you could end just you could see yourself in a situation, sorry, where you know you have a few players and they're just kind of sat around doing nothing. I mean, I have a classic example of I've got a baby Ian Rush who I got from the baby icon SBC, and he's just sat there in my club right now. I used him for a bit and he was quite good, but realistically I can't justify him being better than a lot of the other strikers I have in my club. I think the only reason I kind of used him as long as I did was just because obviously he's a Liverpool legend, so there was that kind of like feel good thing of actually using him, but then over time you have to kind of sit back and be like, you know what, for the benefit of my ultimate team, I need to take him out. So yeah, it's definitely a gamble, guys, and I'm not personally going to do it, but I could completely understand if any of you guys were going to go out there and do this. So yeah, just let me know your thoughts on that. There's a Prime Icon Moments Overmars, who, to be honest, probably quite good. 5-star weak foot, which he's always had, I think, on all of his cards, but he's rapid, proper nifty, agile player. I reckon he'd be pretty decent in game, to be fair. I think he'd be decent. I can't say I've really used him that much this year. Like any version of him, this being obviously not his Moments card, but any version of Overmars, I can't really say I've used him that much. Used him a little bit last year and I didn't really enjoy him that much, so that's why I'm not really like overly hyped to go for him. And I think like when you get the choice between Overmars for 10 or Gullit for 10, I think I'd go Gullit. And that kind of says a lot, considering that Gullit's a baby card and Overmars is a Moments card. So yeah, I think I go for Gullit there. Of course, my views could change. Like I said, like 82 days remaining, or by the time I even get some of these tokens, my club could be in a completely different situation. I could pack a Ruud Gullit. And if I pack like a Prime or a Prime Icon Moments Ruud Gullit, obviously I'd have absolutely no need for the baby card. I just want to say as well though, this card is worth about, I think it's like 700, 800k now. It used to be like 1 million coins, this card, so it's gone down a little bit because he's much more attainable now. But yeah, I think like his middle card is like 5 million coins, and then his prime is like 9, something like that, like 9 million coins. So realistically, if I don't take this one, I either have to then, you know, save my coins to then just buy it, which seems pointless when it's there and I can just have it, or I have to wait till I get 5 million coins or pack a mid I say pack, you can't even pack a mid icon. They're not in pack, so you'd have to either pack a prime or a prime icon moments Ruud Gullit, or save 5 million coins to get a middle one. That ain't happening for me. There's no way that's happening. I can't sit here and like actually trick myself into believing that that could happen to my club, because it won't. Like, I've never had 5 million coins on FIFA before. Never ever on any game. And I've only ever packed one icon in just like a normal pack in my life, and it was a baby Rivaldo that was worth about 200k. So I can't trick my mind into believing that there's even a slight possibility that I could pack a prime or a moments Gullit. It just won't happen. So I have to go for this baby card. I can't turn this opportunity down, because I want him in my team that much. They've got a moments Lampard. It's also available at 10. But I mean, I think you can tell by now that I'm craving this Ruud Gullit. Lampard, for an English football fan, and for any Chelsea fans out there, that's going to be an absolutely incredible card to go for. He's one of those midfielders that he's a bit of a pain to kind of fit into a team, really, because I couldn't really say that he's playing cam, because I think if you look at his stats, he's not got great agility or balance. It's quite poor, actually. And he's not that quick, so you couldn't play him in cam. He's obviously not got the defensive attributes to play as a CDM, and he has high medium work rate, so he's just got to play kind of wide centre mid, and not all teams have that wide centre mid role and that kind of free role in a team that's available. A lot of people, like myself included, I like every player on my team to have a very specific like job role, and for me to know exactly what they're there to do. And with Lampard, I'm not sure I kind of know that. I feel like he might just kind of drift in and out of games, so I wouldn't want to go for him. This next one is actually the other player that I'm going to go for, and that is Paolo Maldini. You may kind of guess that, because obviously if I was spending 10 on Gullit, there's only going to be 14 more available. So I'm actually going to use 13 of them on this Maldini. Any cards from here on, I just wouldn't be able to afford them. I wouldn't have enough tokens to get these guys, which is disappointing in some sense. But like I said previously, like, I don't think that any of them are actually good enough to justify spending the amount of tokens that you would have to spend. I don't think they are. Like, I think EA have missed a trick. They could have easily thrown in like a baby R9 or a baby Eusebio or Cruyff. I mean, if Johan Cruyff was in here, I would not think twice. Johan Cruyff, if that was like 23 tokens, he would be mine straight away. Any version of Cruyff, I get it. Like, incredible card, incredible player on FIFA, but he's not there. They've not kind of put any of the real big cards in. Out of all the kind of all-time legends of the game, there's one, and for me, it's just he's definitely the worst FIFA card. I think that's kind of well known, and we'll see him in a second. But yeah, Maldini, what a centre back. I mean, for me, he's the best centre back that's actually available in this icon swaps, and it's kind of controversial because there is one that's actually worth more tokens, but I would rather have this guy because he has the correct build and the correct frame to be a centre back. He's got plenty of height, 6'1", 4-star weak foot, great work rates. He's pacey. His defensive capabilities are just incredible. I mean, I currently have his baby card at left back, and he does a job, to be fair. Like, you can tell he's a centre back that's playing out wide, but he is actually a really good left back. Ideally, I want this card so then I can remove the left back card, and then I've still got obviously like 300k spare, and the baby one is a tradable one, so I'll sell that and then I'll just improve it with like a Roberto Carlos or something like that. That's kind of my plan. So I think to have like Roberto Carlos, Paolo Maldini, I've got Zanetti in my defence as well, and I currently use Desai, the middle Desai, who I start like in midfield and then drop him into defence. So I'd have a whole icon defence along with Van der Sar in goal. I mean, that would be pretty mad. So yeah, I'm gonna go for him. That's kind of my current opinion. But the rest of them, guys, we got prime icon Kaká here for 15 tokens, so kind of a middle ground one. But I think EA kind of know that a lot of people don't really like him a great deal in this game because he's not what people expect. I don't think really. He's a bit big. He's a bit clunky. If this was an Icon Swaps 1 and he was worth like 23 tokens, I think I would have gone for him because, going into this FIFA, I think everybody was extremely hyped for this guy in the game. Like, he was the big icon that they announced. Like, I think he was the final icon that they announced. And there was all that kind of speculation, and people knew that he was in there. And they announced all the icons, and they wouldn't announce him, and then eventually they did like one big announcement just purely for him. So there was always that kind of that feeling that, you know, he'd be good in the game, because you're not gonna build it up and hype up this one card if he's not going to be good. But yeah, he just hasn't really delivered, I don't think, in this particular FIFA. So that's why he's obviously worth a few less tokens. Next up, we've actually got a couple of Liverpool legends again. So obviously I mentioned about Rush. He does actually appear in a second. But first we've got Dalglish. I think it's the middle Dalglish, yeah. So actually a really good card. Like, Dalglish is really good on this FIFA. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skills. You know, the agility and the balance, like finishing, pace, all that sort of good stuff is, you know, is really, really good for him. He's going to be a top-notch player for sure, and I can see a lot of people going for him. But the issue lies, like, if you take Dalglish, the maximum amount of remaining tokens you can get is 8. And if you don't want to put them to waste, you know, you're then basically looking at either Gattuso, Trezeguet, or Littmanen. So I don't really think that's worth it. I would say it's worth it if you can't grind to all 24 tokens, then Dalglish might be a good shout. Like, because that could literally be your limit. Like, for some people that might be the limit of what you want to do, or maybe say for some people they might be like, oh, I just flat refuse to play squad battles, just only want to play online. So they might literally just do all of the online icon swaps, and that might get you 16 tokens to do that Dalglish. So that could be maybe a good option, but for me personally, I've got the maximum amount of tokens on both the previous editions, and I plan on doing it again. So for me, that's not going to be the way to go. Ian Rush appears again. Also, he doesn't appear again, but obviously he's going to be spoken about again. Sorry. It's going to be a Prime Icon Moments card. Actually has 5-star weak foot, which his baby card certainly doesn't have. But he only has like 3-star skills. So I can see a lot of people being kind of turned off by this particular card. But I mean, honestly, as like a proper like number 9, he's insane. Like, he's really quick, which, you know, not a lot of his cards are. 97 finishing, like all the shoots, that's incredible, to be honest. And then you factor in like 95 heading accuracy is pretty mad. 97 composure, 95 reactions. Actually not that bad agility and balance and like ball control, those sort of things for like, he's only like 5'11". I don't know why, I always think in my head that he's quite big, but he's 5'11", so you would kind of expect that. Solid jumping, solid stamina, solid strength. So honestly, a really good all-round card. But again, you're in a situation where, same with Dalglish, the same amount of tokens. So you're kind of left to like pretty poor players if you wanted to get another icon with him. This is the same for Bergkamp. He costs 16 as well. Another Moments card. Actually looks really good again. I can't say that I really personally like Bergkamp that much in FIFA, but some people, like say Arsenal fans, they would absolutely adore this card. I mean, 98 finishing, 99 attack positioning, 97 shot power, 99 volleys. Like, I mean, he ain't gonna miss much. Sorry, is he? So he's quite quick as well. He's quite quick for a Bergkamp card, and you play that in maybe in cam, or like in maybe like a front 2. I don't think you play him up front on his own. Maybe a little bit too slow, but definitely a few possibilities and options with this card. So. Dribbling stats are insane as well, 99 composure, so yeah, it's going to be a top-notch card, but it's not one that I'm personally going to go for, I don't think, really, but it's not a bad shout. Moments Riquelme, honestly, I think this is way overpriced. 18. I think it's just because it's a new card. Like, it only got put into the game about a week ago, and being a Moments card, I guess they just wanted to make it a bit more. But like, he's slow, physical's poor, defending stats are poor, so like he literally has to play cam. He's too slow to play up front or anything like that, so you can literally only play this guy in cam, but I think he's too slow to be a cam as well, to be honest. Like, obviously 5-star skills is good and 4-star weak foot, but medium low work rates, you're never gonna play it. You're never gonna play him like centre mid or CDM or anything like that. He has to be a cam, and for me that's just not what I'd be looking for in an attacking midfielder, if I'm honest. So definitely a waste of tokens in my opinion. Maradona is the one kind of like legend of the game that is actually available in this icon swaps, and it's his middle card at least. At least it's not his baby one. 19 tokens though again, which I can understand why he's one of the ones that's like a bit further down the list, of course, but 3-star weak foot isn't great. 5'5", I feel like he's just going to get brushed off the ball too easily. And don't get me wrong, like short, nifty players are really good on this game, but I just think maybe there's kind of a limit. Like there's a limit where you maybe take it a little bit too far, and he is just genuinely like ridiculously short. And I'm not sure if I could personally get on with spending that many tokens on him. His stats are good. His stats are really good, and I'm sure there'll be a few people that will go for him because they'll be like, oh my god, it's Maradona. Like, I want Maradona in my team. And some people do consider him to be the greatest footballer of all time. So I can see a lot of people going for him, but he's not going to be one of my personal choices. This next one is actually a really good card. Prime Icon Moments, Emmanuel Petit, who has pretty much everything, to be honest. Has literally everything. You could play him CDM or centre mid, high work rates. It's a shame he's only got 3-star weak foot, but he's got a big frame and he's always been a good player on FIFA. Just literally green everywhere except penalties, but I mean, who cares? Who cares about the penalty stat? The only reason I wouldn't go for him is because I don't want to spend all my tokens on a CDM. This is literally the only reason. I think like, if you're going to get like a defensive player, ideally you kind of want to get someone that's either they are literally the best in their position, or you want to get them along with someone else. It just feels like a little bit of a waste to just go for Petit and then be like, oh, well, there's a few better cards out there, and that's all I've got to show for my work. It just doesn't really seem worth it. So I'm not going to go for him. Cannavaro, I'm kind of staggered that he's 20 because he's 5'9". He does have 99 jumping, which is obviously going to counter that to some extent, but sometimes you're not in a situation as a defender where you can actually get into a situation where you can jump, because strikers will just kind of pin you to the floor, or they'll get up before you. So for players that short centre back, I do think it's a bit of a gamble. But apart from that, his stats are really good. Like, he's rapid, 98 defending is just incredible, 90 physical, but again, not really like a ball playing centre back. So you'd have to be a little bit careful with him. But being that quick, he will make a lot of recovery runs and tackles. So it's an interesting one, but for me, the height is just a big put off. And then we've got at 21, we've got Carlos Alberto. There's actually two Brazilians at 21. Obviously, you can see their Garincha as well. We'll look at him in a second. So Carlos Alberto, again, I could see why people would go for this 100%, because that's probably the best right back on the game. Maybe like Team of the Year Trent, possibly better if you weighed them up. But I think when you've obviously got to factor in that this guy gets links to everyone, I think this is probably the best one. I honestly do. I think this is probably the best right back on the game. You know, and that's saying a lot, because I have Prime Zanetti in my team that I got from Icon Swaps, and I'm in no doubt that this card is better than Zanetti for sure. With a 4-star weak for there as well, he literally has everything that you could wish for from a right back. But again, it's like, it's 21 tokens. Do you really want to spend all of your Icon Swap tokens on a right back? I'm not sure. I mean, like I said, he's the best, so you can take like satisfaction and pride out of the fact that you have the best one, like pretty much. Like, you're never ever gonna have to change that position again, so there is that plus side to it. But I think like this game has kind of got to the point where you need to try and get as much enjoyment out of it as possible. Like, FIFA isn't fun sometimes, and you just want to have like the best like fun attacking players that you can get. And if there's particular players, like for me, I've always wanted Ruud Gullit in my team, so I'm going to go and get Ruud Gullit, because it may not be the best choice. Like, for a lot of people, it may not be the best choice, but for me, to have the most fun on this game, it's the way to go. So if you guys think that having Carlos Alberto is going to be the funnest way for you to play FIFA, then, you know, brilliant, go for him. That I would definitely say go for him, but it's just not going to be for me. Garincha was actually a possibility, to be honest. I've honestly wanted this card since the start, to be honest, but it's a lot of tokens, and I think I would rather go for Maldini and Hullet and get 2 players in than get just 1 player that I like. I think it would be the better way to go. This Garrincha's up there with Messi, obviously, like one of the better right wingers on the game. This is going to get linked, so you'd probably argue he might be the best. But like I said before, team of the season will be around the corner, and situations can change. Like, your choices can change. He may not be the best one out there by the time team of the season comes around. And 5-star skills is obviously going to be a huge plus. The work rates aren't going to be a problem because Messi has those work rates, and everybody loves Messi. So this is a really good option. Like, honestly, guys, I would recommend going for this if if you're kind of like unsure and you look at the card and you think like this looks sick, but I'm not sure if I want to like grind to all those tokens and go for him. I would say do it. But yeah, if you've got other players, like say you're in a situation like me where you could get 2 players that you'd like instead of 1, I say just go for the 2, to be honest. Just so you've got more players that you like using. But yeah, definitely still consider this Garrincha. I would definitely not like rule him out. And then the final option, guys, is honestly, like, I feel really let down with this from EA. I feel really let down. So it's baby icon Zinedine Zidane. Now, a lot of people have used this card because he was available in the season objectives, maybe like a couple of seasons ago. They had like an objective where you could basically earn his loan card when you got to a certain level, and then you had to use that card to complete objectives to get like a Zidane tifo and things like that. And like, it just wasn't that great. He was not that great. He's quite clunky. He's not exactly rapid. He does have 5-star, which is great, and he's a big boy, so he's going to be powerful and good work rates and that. But I just don't think that. I think for 23 tokens, it's a bit much. Like, if it was his middle card, I would probably go for it, to be honest, because I would like. I said about Hullet, like I really want like a good midfielder and a good box-to-box midfielder. I think like the middle card I could justify a bit more. But this one, the defensive stats are poor. To be honest, the 73 defend is not great. And to grind that much for a baby icon, I can't say it's worth it, to be honest. I can't say it's worth it. I think it's a bit like in Icon Swaps 1 when like Drogba was available, and it's like mid-icon Drogba for 23. I kind of said back then, like, if it was his prime, I would have gone for it, for sure, because the prime Drogba is just incredible. But when it was the mid, I was like, not so sure. Like, I feel like I probably end up with better options eventually, and it feels the same with Zidane. I don't know why EA can't just go out and give us something like incredible to grind towards, because it doesn't give you the motivation to go and get all the tokens, for sure. Of course, you can combine various icons. There's that motivation, but if you want to go for like just one icon, just the top dog, it doesn't give you that motivation at all. And like, a lot of people would just. It's easy for people just to be like, oh, well, I'll just get 13 tokens and just take Maldini and that's it, or I'll just get 16 tokens and just take Dalglish. Like, it's just the easy way out. And I feel like if EA went for something much bigger for like the higher end icon, it would have got people a lot more engaged in the game, and it would have given people a lot more reason to go out and grind and get these objectives done, because they know that there's such a good card as a prize at the end of it. So I feel like EA have kind of missed a trick with that. Pretty much every icon sorts, really, they've done that, which is unfortunate. But I guess they were never going to give us like R9 or Cruyff, anything like that. But I mean, I would have loved to have seen it, but I guess it was just too good to be true. So in summary, guys, I'm going to be going for Maldini and Hullet. Of course, it could change. I'll obviously let you guys know if the situation does change. But that is my thoughts on Icon Swaps 3. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about it, who you think you're going to go for, or just if you need any more advice, like if there's anything that I haven't really covered in the video, like any, if you're wondering, maybe I've not given enough kind of like justification on particular cards as to why I don't like them, and you just want to know little bits like that, then just yeah, let me know. But hopefully this was useful for you guys, and if it wasn't, feel free to smash the like button, and obviously if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you want to do so, that'd be much appreciated. But that is going to be it from me, guys. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you later.